the news broke last night. Juan Soto, 15 years, $765 million.
Is that a lot?
I mean, I've said it before. I call that a slow Tuesday,
Mm.
but no deferred money in this contract. Absolutely insane. And then this is where as the details of the contract started to leak out, we were like, okay, opt outs at a year five, which I'm like, that's early for a 15-year deal to begin with. And then I'm like, oh, wait, there's like a little caveat in there. If he doesn't opt out, he gets a $4 million raise for every season after that. So he could make after year five, $55 million a year.
So what you're you're basically setting yourselves up to he's going to opt out to force you to give him the raise or just go sign another deal because who knows what the market's going to be in 5 years. Like you're trying to turn this into a 5-year deal is the feeling that I get. Which would be him going back to free agency at what his age 31 year. So
Yeah.
still in his prime.
I mean, absolutely insane. I mean, as the numbers started to climb and Cohen said, "I'm not gonna get outbid." Like, I knew it was gonna be the Mets. I mean, we've been saying it for the last 2
Yep.
months. Like, Cohen's not gonna get outbid, and he didn't. He did exactly what he promised. He said, "Whatever deal you're gonna get, I'm gonna beat it by $50 million." And that's what he did. As you can see, Yankees reportedly offered him 16 years for 760. So he got one less year for roughly the same amount of money.
Yep.
So yeah, Cohen outbid him, outbid everybody. I mean, yeah, and honestly, I don't disagree with this. And baseball, and we'll get to it in a little bit. Sports are getting out of control. The
Yep.
money is absolutely insane. Um, the amount of money it costs for us to just go to a game is astronomical, and there's no need for it. There really isn't any need. Good for Soto for getting this money. Good for him. But there's no need for it.
Yeah. There's no justification. And everybody keeps saying, well, Otani. Otani was different. The Dodgers paid for Otani because yes, he's a two-way player. Although news came out about his pitching next year that we'll get into in a little bit. But Otani brings with him an insane amount of marketing money. He brings an entire country with him. And we've talked about this on the show before. Like with Otani, it's less about baseball and more about marketing. With Soto, all you're getting is a great hitter. He doesn't pitch. He's not a great fielder, doesn't run the bases all that well, doesn't have a great arm. He's just a great hitter.
Yeah.
And there's just zero justification for that money. But Steve Cohen, being a fan and owner and having the money to spend, basically said, okay, like
Yeah.
I want him. I'm going to sign him.
Yeah. And listen, we're with you here. Like
Oh, yeah.
I don't really care that the Mets overpaid. Like it's not my money. I don't care. And I don't have an issue with Cohen spending the money. I hope he
Nope.
goes out and he gets Corbin Burns. I hope he gets Max Fried. I hope he brings Alonso back. I hope he just goes all in at this point.
Yeah.
I,
$400 million payroll. I don't.
yeah, bring it.
Yep.
Like I love this for the Mets. The Mets fans have been suffering for years. They have. And I'm glad that they finally got a bona fide superstar of this caliber. Yes, Francisco Lindor is also in that conversation. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But to land this guy is huge for the New York Mets. I do love the signing. I really do.
Well, the Mets, and we said it a few weeks ago. The Mets need a face of the franchise, and the fan base is never going to accept Lindor as that guy.
Yeah.
They need somebody, and Soto's got the star power. He's young. He's going to be there now for 15 seasons, maybe.
Maybe.
He becomes the guy. He becomes the guy you build around. And I think the money's insane, but that's where the market was, and Cohen paid it. This is only a bad deal for the Mets if they can't afford to go get other players, which we know Cohen. That's not a problem for Cohen. He's got the money to spend, so
Yeah.
he's got all of the all that dead money from Verlander and Scherzer when he shipped guys out of town. That's all fallen off the books now. He's clean. He dumped a bunch of payroll and can reload. And yeah, and you're for Mets fans. I mean, hallelujah for you because you've had a lot of years of getting kicked by ownership that was either cheap or lost money in the Madoff scheme, or for whatever reason, the Mets continually struggle to build a good team around them. And they've had their spurts. They're in the World Series in what, 15? They've
Yeah.
had their spurts, but they haven't been consistently good now in a while. And as a Mets fan, you now have your cornerstone franchise player, the guy you're going to build around. And Cohen's got some payroll flexibility from the guys that fell off. And now you got to go get some pitching and add that roster because that lineup's not super scary with just he and Lindor in it. And you're going to have a team that is in the hunt. And
Yeah.
I think the difference is the Mets signed Soto, no deferred money, no games. The contract is what it is straight up. What drives fans crazy is that the Dodgers are playing this deferred money game and signing bonus game, and how do we change the annual values to avoid the luxury tax, and for Cohen it was just, what's the number? Here's the contract. Sign here. I'll pay your money, and we're not trying to play games to get around it.
Right. And I love that as a baseball fan. Like that's all we've been screaming about really
Yeah.
with the Dodgers. Is this like, okay, go ahead and build your super team. We don't care.
Yeah,
But
fine.
it should cost you. And it's really not until 20 years down the road when none of us are going to care about it anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
let's not pretend like we're building a super team with all this payroll. Like you've deferred over $1 billion of what you signed. Great,
yeah,
you can do it. It's allowed. But let's not pretend like this is some crazy scheme here. Like you're just playing with the numbers to try to avoid the luxury tax.
yeah,
And I got in a debate with somebody on Facebook the other day. They're like, "Oh, well, Snell signed the contract. It's not a bad deal." I said, "No, it's not a bad deal." I said, "Snell got his money paid to him the way the Dodgers want to pay it, and if he's
right.
okay with that, great." If players are okay being told how they're going to get paid in a way that benefits the team, then more power to them.
Yeah.
You know, in what world would a player defer 90% of their salary to some place down the road? Like, if
Yeah.
you can do that, great.